The difference between safe and optimal withdrawal rates for retirement spending. I'm, again, Wade, my man Wade Fowl over at retirementresearcher.com. Big fan of his stuff. I just had to check on old Pablo back there, make sure he's not getting into something because he's a puppy. Anyway, so I've always been a fan of this idea of optimal as opposed to safe withdrawal rates. A safe withdrawal rate says no matter what happened, you never ran out of money. All right, but inherently, the safest withdrawal rate is zero. You're guaranteed not to run out of money, but yet you're going to eat ramen noodles and live like a pauper. And we don't want that. So safe withdrawal rate, I don't buy that for 2 seconds. And on top of that, we have to assume there's a certain level of time you're going to need money in retirement. And of course, the safe withdrawal rate says, what is the maximum I could spend without ever running out of money for a certain amount of time? And usually that amount of time is 30 years. And we're going to adjust that spending each and every year for inflation. None of that stuff rings true to me because A, the likelihood of you living 30 years is not very high. B, the likelihood of your spending going up each and every year with inflation on this linear trajectory is not high at all. In fact, that's far from it according to research. And then C, why limit yourself on the front end and to have a whole lot more in the back? I don't like that. So I like the idea of an optimal. Drawback about an optimal retirement. Hold on, so let me pause this. Get my man here. So I had to get my dog here because he was wanting to be on the show. So he said, "Hey, I want to be on the camera too." All right. So what I like about optimal, you'll never have because we don't know how long you're going to live. Right. So because we don't know how long you're going to live, we can never say for sure what is an optimal retirement rate of spending. We just don't know. In fact, what is optimal? Is optimal 100,000 this year and 110,000 next? Well, we haven't gone to next year, so we don't know what the optimal retirement rate of spending will be then either. So we just don't know. There's a lot of we don't know, so you can never say what an optimal rate of spending is. But it gives us something to kind of shoot for to say at the end of the day, what if we spent this amount as opposed to the 4% rule or whatever now even Wade talks about 3% rule. So let's go into this a little bit. With the help of old Pablo. Hello, Pablo! Yay! Everybody loves Pablo! Yay for Pablo! Distinguishing between safe withdrawal rates and optimal withdrawal rates is an essential piece of the retirement spending conversation. I've discussed how the 4% rule may be too high for those focused on identifying a sustainable withdrawal rate that will not deplete the portfolio after a 30-year period. This does not necessarily forbid the use of a 4% rule, though. Retirees may still choose a higher withdrawal rate as part of downplaying the potential impact of investment portfolio depletion. I 100% agree with that. Wade said he was a part of a research effort with Michael Fink and Duncan Williams to explore these issues in a 2012 Journal of Financial Planning article called Spending Flexibility and Safe Withdrawal Rates. We investigated withdrawal rates and after adding other income sources from outside the retirement portfolio, such as Social Security and pensions. Also, instead of focusing on the traditional objective of worrying only about using a low failure rate, we saw a better balance between two competing trade-offs. Wanting to spend and enjoy more while you're alive and healthy, and not wanting to deplete the investment portfolio and rely on non-portfolio income sources later in retirement. What we call spending flexibility shares a lot of what Moshe Milevsky and Xiang Huang call longevity risk aversion, as both concepts are about identifying a willingness to reduce spending at an advanced age if necessary. We also brought asset allocation and randomized investment returns in the mix, seeking to determine optimal withdrawal rates and optimal asset allocation for different retiree circumstances. In practical terms, retirees who are more longevity risk averse and less flexible with spending would like to smooth spending over retirement. These retirees aren't overly focused or interested in increasing spending if markets perform well, preferring instead to focus on keeping spending stable if they end up living longer than expected and seeing a poor sequence of return risk. We found that someone with greater flexibility and more outside sources of income may be willing to accept a higher failure rate as part of balancing these competing trade-offs, i.e. we're going to take more out of the portfolio, which means inherently we're going to have a higher chance that we might run out of money. Our study was based on historical U.S. data, which generally points to a 4% as a safe withdrawal rate because it assumes higher bond yields than they currently are. And I don't think ever getting back to that, at least for a long, long time. But we found out with those capital market expectations, the 4% retirement strategy may only be appropriate for more risk-averse retirees with moderate guaranteed income sources. The ability to accept greater failure probabilities mean that risk-tolerant retirees will prefer a higher withdrawal rate and a riskier retirement portfolio. A risk-tolerant retiree may prefer a withdrawal rate between 5 and 7% with a guaranteed income of $20,000. I would say adjusted for inflation. I completely agree with that. In addition, the optimal allocation stocks increases by 10 and 30 percentage points, and the optimal withdrawal rate increases by 1 and 2 percentage points for retirees with a guaranteed income of $60,000 instead of $20,000. I don't get what that means. The optimal allocation, okay. If you have a guaranteed income of $60,000 instead of $20,000, you can be more aggressive in your optimal assessment, is what he's saying. Again, there's an important point to reemphasize here. In one case study of the article, we identify a 7% withdrawal rate as optimal. That is not a safe withdrawal rate. With the market assumptions in the article, the 7% withdrawal rate had a 57% chance of failure over a 30-year period. Though it's not safe, it does maximize the overall expected lifetime satisfaction for a fairly flexible retired couple who has a secure income base of $20,000 from Social Security. In our analysis, 7% is how the couple could best balance the trade-off between spending more early in retirement with the possibility of then having to spend less later in retirement. See, I like that a lot. So what he's saying is, look, you can spend 7%, just recognize there's a good chance you run out of money. But I hate to be flippant here, but who cares? You're later on, you're 85 years old. You might not be alive, A. And B, you're not going to do the same things you did when you're 65. That's my whole contention here is like, look, if you're spending $40,000 this year and $42,000 next and $44,000 next and so on, that means that when you're hit 88, you'll be spending the same amount relative to inflation. It doesn't make sense. Your spending needs are going to change. But Josh, what if I need a nursing home? That's you sell your house. That's the whole point of not having a mortgage. You sell your doggone house and go to a nursing home. That's how it works. Or you take reverse mortgage. So don't just limit yourself on the front end of your retirement. I don't get that. You're living like a pauper so your kids can ride first class. Don't do that. All right, we'll see you guys next time. And Pablo says bye-bye. Bye-bye, Pablo. Want to say bye-bye? There he is. Oh, yeah. He just says hugs. Hugs, not drugs. Hugs, not drugs for Pablo. All right, see you.